everyone. We have Max Ryan on our show. Thank you so much, Max, to be on Awake TV. Max is intuitive and he's a law of attraction coach. And he's more than anything amazing human being. I love him to death.
Oh,
Hi, Max. Welcome to the show.
it's great to be here. It's so great to be here. And I love you too. We've known each other for quite a long time,
Yeah.
And thank you for that introduction. It's really great. And I just, now I just say that, you know what, I mean, ultimately it just comes down to that I'm a spiritual teacher. I'm really just a spiritual teacher. That's what I do.
Yes. And Max helped me for my beginning of the awakening when I started to see angels. He's the one, not the see angels, hear angels, archangels. He's the one who helped me to make sure I'm not insane. So that was a huge help. But Max, please introduce about yourself and little bit to your viewer. I'm pretty sure viewer knows, but just in case.
Sure. Well, my name is Max Ryan, and as I was saying, I just consider myself a spiritual teacher, and I call myself a transformational mentor also now. I mean, it's gone through different phases, and as we grow and as we shift and we change and discover things about ourselves, things change, and we allow that to happen through evolution. So I have been, I guess this is one of the biggest things in myself and how I help people really, is that I've been very intuitive my whole life since I was a very, very, very young boy. I would tend to see things that other people didn't see. And then I found out that they didn't see them either. And I would know things before other people knew them. I didn't know why. I really didn't understand why people didn't just know what was going to happen. It wasn't with everything, but I just kind of knew at a very, very, very early age. And so that really, I guess that opened up not opened up, but it started me probably at the age of about 4 or 5,
Wow.
knowing that I wasn't really from here, that my connection was something much bigger than just what was in my crib or in my house or in the, I was born into a family that, God bless my mother, was an alcoholic, and it was not a good situation. I was born into a lot of intense tragedy from a very early age, and I think that I don't know why, but I knew that that wasn't reality. The reality was something far bigger than that, and so that started me understanding a lot of different things and searching and turning inward and doing lots of. And I've studied every major religion, and I've studied metaphysics, I've studied real occult stuff. And then when I was about 18 years old, a friend of mine told me about this group that was going on that he went to, and they talk about these principles in this book. And I was like, okay, I'll go. I was always open. At that point I was meditating all the time. I was what was vegan at that time, called macrobiotic. I was having out of body experiences and all that stuff. And I went to this group, and they were studying something called A Course in Miracles. And this book changed my life, and it has changed my life, and it continues to change my life every single day. And I really had a real spiritual awakening when I started doing the daily lessons. There's 365 lessons in A Course in Miracles, and I had a real spiritual awakening then. And then
When was that?
Say again?
When was that?
When I was about 18 years old, and I'm 54 now. So that's about 36 years ago.
That's a long time ago. Wow.
Long time ago.
So, you weren't freaking out or anything? Pretty much because your shin's awake. Pretty much
Well,
you're little.
I'll tell you this. The process of awakening, I always say it like this to my students and to people, that it is really, what happens is that you have to finally let go of the ego. and you have to finally, and it's very, and it takes a process. It takes sometimes things will just happen, but for most of us it takes a process. The ego is the part of you that keeps thinking that you're a body, that keeps trying to convince you that you can win, that keeps trying to convince you something's wrong with you. The part of you that is always there. In traditional kind of Christianity, they would call it the devil, or it's a dark spirit inside of you. But it's not. It's just there doing its job. And so letting go of the ego is very scary, because you have to let go of what you believe you are. And that is scary. That is scary. And but there is great freedom in that awakening that you're not who you think you are.
But
Does
once
that
you
make sense?
know who you are for real,
Hmm.
isn't it easy to let, I mean, who you think you are on earth go, because that's just part of you. That's
That's
not
right.
real you.
That's not the real you. I mean, it's a part of this manifestation of your own personal will, which is fine, but to believe, this is what I believe, that ultimately it's like we all have to heal our relationship with our true self. Most people are trying to heal their relationship with their false self. They're trying to love all their flaws. They're trying to be a better person. They're trying to heal their bad beliefs and all that stuff. There's nothing wrong with that.
Hmm.
But a true spiritual awakening, you're not trying to manipulate or change or heal that stuff, because that stuff is all, it's an illusion. The truth of you, the truth of all of us, is the part of us that is connected with God, connected with divine. That's never ending, has no beginning, no end, and there's no way to describe that to you in words. But when it starts to happen for you, you know it, because you let go of everything, and that is when you have true spiritual awakening, and that's when you start to, as I say, get on the path. Does that make
Hmm.
sense, Erica?
Yeah, it does. I'm trying to focus on my heart now, because
Mm-hmm.
I want to let go of the whole stories,
Good.
everything.
Good.
But
Well, the
like,
heart is the heart is the space where our true self is, where we communicate with our true self. So it's
mhm.
perfect. Go
I have
ahead.
a question. Like, I started seeing my multiple selves, like my original incarnation of myself in the ship. I see
Mm-hmm.
myself clearly, and
Mm-hmm.
I also see other timelines. So I feel like all these timelines are merging within here I am right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you experience something like that? Or if you do, how are we handling, like, how should we handling it?
Well, I think what you're talking about is the collapse of time, right?
Yeah.
And the collapse of time is an indicator that you are, as A Course in Miracles would say, you have gotten to a point where you have peeled away enough of the illusion that you start to see that there is no time, that it's all happening right now.
Yeah.
And so from the vantage point of the part of our mind that needs to have a little bit of organization, that part starts to go, oh, that's that lifetime, and this lifetime, and this. But then you realize that it's like you're there already, and then you're not already, but it's all happening right now.
Yeah.
And that is a sure sign that our awakening. Now, I will tell you that time, it's all different for everybody, but that time where you start to be like, wow, my past self is myself now, my future self is myself now, all of that stuff, that after that starts to become kind of, I don't want to say, well, yeah, comfortable for us,
Normal.
then one starts to be like, oh, a great peace starts to arise from us, because it's not about controlling the future, it's not about atoning for the past, it's only about being more in touch with the holy instant where God is right now, right here,
Hmm.
you
And
know.
did you know that? I know you went through your near death experience. But
Hmm.
did you know that before that, or after that, you have a more clear vision of all this awakening stuff, or how is was it like?
Um, okay, so like I said, I really had a huge jump in my spiritual awakening the first time I really did the 365 um, lessons of A Course in Miracles, and that's where it really jumped. And then, so what happens is you don't just let me just say this: you don't just like have a spiritual awakening and that's it.
Mhm.
It because the expanse of beingness is so huge that it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So your experiences here while you're walking this planet, they start shifting and changing and getting bigger. So um, I knew that before. Let me just say one thing to clarify. What we're talking about is really deep. Let me just tell you, it's really deep.
Mm.
This is an example, Erica, and everybody watching. I used to have, I would do readings. I would do readings. I would help people. I would see things, whatever. And I realized that I had what's called a master guide. Do you know what I'm
Mhm.
talking about,
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
Erica?
yeah.
So I had this master guide. I don't talk about this very much, but I think for your show, it's probably going to be good. And I had this master guide, and his name was Gawain, and he came to me, and
Mhm.
he listened. And as I speak, I start to feel him, and he always is right here. So in meditation, I started to see him. He started to be there, and he was from the 12th century. It was around Scotland. I know exactly who he was.
Mhm.
You know, so I would see him and all this other stuff. And then something happened over the years where I started to relate to him more. I started to understand him more. I was like, and then in meditation, I started to see through his eyes. I was like,
Mm.
that's interesting. And then I started to have the realization that he was me.
Oh no, that was fractal of yourself.
And it was a fractal of myself coming back to help me in this life, right?
Oh my God, that's amazing.
And I remember I was working with a woman named Sonia Choquette. Some people might know her. And I remember going up to her, and this was probably 15 years ago, probably, maybe.
Uh-huh.
And I said to her, I said, this might sound a little like weird, but I think my master guide is me. And she's like, well, of course it is. And I was like, okay. And that was a huge realization to me in this time collapse thing, right?
Mhm.
And realizing that that was another step in my awakening. And so I just started living with that, and I realized, oh my God, that is me, that there is no boundary between what the guidance is and what I am right now. And then of course all that comes from the light of the divine source.
Mhm.
So that happened about 15 years ago. And about 5 years ago, sorry, I
Mm.
just have to explain this a little bit. I had a near death experience. I'll condense this real quick. I
Yeah.
got very sick very suddenly, and it was just random. And I had to be rushed to the hospital. They had no idea what was going on with me. I couldn't breathe. It was a lot of stuff, and they had to. They didn't know anything that was happening to me. My body just started shutting down, shutting down, shutting down, shutting down, shutting down. They had to put me in a coma.
Mhm.
And while I was in the coma, I had what I call a near death experience. Now, when I've explained my near death experience to people, to some quote unquote near death experience experts, they're like, that wasn't one. And I was like, that's your experience. That's fine. But what happened to me is I had the huge realization that I was thinking to myself, something's wrong with my body. Something's when I was in the coma, and I was in
Mhm.
another space and time, literally. And
Mhm.
then I realized that, aha, it's not my body. It's something with me. It's me. I'm transitioning. That's the thought that was happening in my consciousness. And
Mhm.
as soon as I realized it wasn't my body, that it was me, a whole shift of immense flow of love and peace and joy that I haven't and I still have not since then ever felt. And I
Mhm.
knew right then, I was like, aha. And I don't even say it's a thought, because it wasn't even a thought. It was like the realization that
Mhm.
everything I had been doing my whole life up to that point, I
Mhm.
mean, I was in my mid 40s, like 40s, that everything was true what I was teaching, that it was all about love.
Yeah.
And then I came back, and then I came back. So the difference between pre near death experience and post is that I come to the work knowing that it's true.
Oh, that's awesome.
Does that make sense, Erica?
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
told from Archangel Raphael not to do anything on you because it's up to you to come back or not.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like,
For
don't
sure.
do anything. Just
Mhm.
honor Max's decision. But I was praying, praying, praying.
Oh, but thank you for that. And it's interesting because I will say this because you and I worked together, and that's how the angels really brought us together in the angelic realm. And I really worked with the angels a lot, and I love the angelic realm. But what's happened to me is that, as I was saying, all time is happening at once, right, Erica?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I also, when this starts all happening to you, every separation of energies starts to fall away.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I can, and it's fine if my brain and my mind is in that place to work with the angelic realm, which I love, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't have to because I know it's all one thing.
Yeah, it leads to all that is.
Yeah, it's all that is. It's the all that
Mm-hmm.
is. And we perceive it as angels or this or this or this, but it's really just all light, and it's all love. Yeah.
That's how we are eventually going back as a consciousness, right? All that
I
is like
I
all of
believe so.
our beings, not just humans, but other off Earth beings as well.
I believe so. Well, I believe um, everything is in this space and time continuum that we're living
Mm-hmm.
is all this kind of movie and illusion to remember that you're really the person sitting in the theater, you're not the movie.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when the movie ends, you don't end. You just get up from the theater and you walk out.
Yeah, I was doing a hypnosis thing and I saw service to self past and it seems like outside the earth experience you move to one life to another just like taking off your outfit.
Yeah,
You
it's like a
never.
car. It's like getting a new car.
Yeah.
That's what
That's,
it is.
yeah, I
And
think.
sometimes the car is a Porsche, and sometimes it's a VW, and sometimes it's broken, and sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
But it's just a car. But it's just a car.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So
For
it's
sure.
not a big deal like changing one body to another or one being to another. It's just we take our consciousness with us and like constantly expanding.
Constantly, for sure, for sure. Yeah, yeah. I agree with that. I agree
You
with
have
that. And
any tips to the people who are awakening or starting to awakening?
um, here's my biggest tip. Um, there are in this lifetime, and as we walk in these bodies, in this illusion of these bodies, if you want to say that, um, there are two things that I've discovered and that I see when people that I work with, and my students start to work with this, it changes everything.
Hmm.
On one end of the spectrum, in duality, because we're living in duality, truth is not duality, it's only love, right? So one end of the spectrum is resistance.
Mm-hmm.
The other end of the spectrum is trust or faith.
Mm-hmm.
And the more people can be aware, and I will tell you, when I work with my students and I ask them to be incredibly aware of where and what they're resisting in life,
Hmm.
it's surprising how much you resist. I don't want to be bad. I don't want my hair like that. I don't want to go that way. I wish my mother wouldn't treat me like that. All those things are on the resistance end of the stick. Does that make sense, Erica?
Mm-hmm.
The other end of the stick is the trust end. Now, the more you can move to the trust end instead of the resistant end,
Mm-hmm.
the more connected you are with all that is, and how everything starts to change. Because you stop trying to change yourself, you stop trying to change the world, you stop trying to do this, because that's all your egoic mind is based in
Mm-hmm.
resistance, right? And
Mm.
if you notice, I have my latest tattoo is trust.
Ah.
So it's a love, look, love,
Uh-huh.
trust. And
Uh-huh.
this side is fear. So it's
Uh-huh.
I could write resistance here, right? So
Uh-huh.
fear
Uh-huh.
always comes from resistance.
Ah.
Trust, love comes from trust. So the
Mm.
more you can go towards trust, no matter, and I will tell you, your ego doesn't like this side. It doesn't want to go here. And it will do anything and everything to keep you from this side. Does that make sense?
Mm. Yeah.
It will be like, oh, you don't know enough, or you can't do that until you read the book, and only people like Erica or Max are awake, or it'll give you all these things to say, stay over here. But if you can develop that strength to
Mm-hmm.
say, I'm going to trust anyway. I'm gonna go here anyway. I don't know, but I'm gonna go here anyway. The more that you do that in your life, the more that the quote unquote spiritual awakening will that process will start to happen naturally. Naturally.
Mm.
So that's my biggest, I mean, that's condensed, but that's the biggest thing I could tell people
Oh
to
my God, that's
to to
awesome.
make their awakening go faster. I mean, you don't even need to, here's the deal, you're already awake anyway. That's the kind of the misnomer of the whole thing. You don't have to do anything. You already are awake.
Hmm. One last question. What do you think about like when other beings are saying you are just here to be conduit? You just have to be here and hold light. What's
Hmm.
your point of view of that?
I believe that to be true. I believe that to be true for sure. That's all we are is light, truly. Everything else is like, it's like we're the person in the car. We're not the car. We're just the car. And I mean, we're just the person, the soul. And I believe that to be true. We're just here to be. Now, I do want to say this on a practical level is that some people will take that and they'll be like, and they'll do this. They'll be like, okay, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to do anything. It's like, no, you actually have to do something in this world. Otherwise you have to do something. Now, what you do is dependent on what part of you are listening to. Does that make sense?
Mm,
If
yeah.
you're listening to the God in you, and the Course in Miracles has the perfect, beautiful prayer that you say every day. Every morning you wake up and you say, Dear God, tell me where to go, tell me what to do, tell me what to say, and to whom. And you follow that guidance,
Mm-hmm.
you will be shown what to do. You will have the intuition to be like, I don't know why, but I need to garden. I don't know why, but I have to call her. I don't know why, but I need to work at Jack in the Box. I don't, whatever it happens to be.
Mm-hmm.
But the ego will be like, you can't work at Jack in the Box. It's not enough money. It'll just do a whole number on you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that I think is one of the most important things for us, to realize when, the beingness is first, the doing is second. So that channeling that light is the being, the I am presence. And if you're not meditating every day, I highly suggest you start true meditation, because that's where you get that aha. You clear out the cobwebs and you get the channel of the light coming through you. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, Erica.
Yeah, just being.
Yeah.
Simply breathe and just
Hmm.
be.
And that beingness will inspire you. It will. That's what I believe.
Awesome.
But it's not going to always just inspire you to do what your ego wants you to do. It might be something very different. So
Mm.
that's where the trust comes in, right?
Ah, makes sense.
Hmm.
Great. Thank you, Max. So, where can people reach you when they need help from you?
Sure, sure, sure. My main website is attractpositiveresults.com. You can go there. Most of what I do is there. I also, if you're interested in doing the 365 lessons, the total transformation of the Course in Miracles, I have personally recorded every single lesson, and I have created a subscription box called the Miracles Box, and you can go to themiraclesbox.com to find out more about that, where you're delivered the recording so you can do the lessons for 1 full year, and you can go there for that. And if anyone's interested in talking about how you might become a student of mine or work with me, you can go to attractpositiveresults.com, and right on the home page there's a little button that says schedule a time to talk with Max, and I would love to see if we're a fit and I can help you in any way.
Awesome. So what are you working on lately?
What am I working on? I'm working on a lot of things.
Mhm.
But, you know, I'm still working on this miracles box thing,
Mhm.
that's for sure.
Mhm.
Because I mean it's up and running and it's going. But I want, because of the results I've seen with myself and my students, I really want more people to at least start to do the lessons of A Course in Miracles, because literally it'll blow your mind. Your mind will completely be blown. And I'm putting my focus into promoting that and talking about that, because you will have a spiritual awakening if you stick with it. And that's why I made it. So I record it, I support you. You get other videos where I'm saying, you're here now, this is what you're going to do, keep going, keep trusting, stop resisting. And then every 3 months you actually get a box in the mail, which is really
Mm.
fun. You know, like, you know how they have wine boxes and beauty boxes,
Oh
you know what I mean?
yeah.
But this, with this, I'm sending you a very special item that will keep inspiring you or motivate you. It's a surprise. So actually you'll get a miracles box in the mail and you'll open it and go, whoa. So that's what I'm really working on, the miraclesbox.com.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. I love it. And I'm also, oh, if there's anyone, I'm not sure when this is going to be aired, but in March 15th, depending on if where you are, I'm doing a very small spiritual gathering event in Sydney, Australia. In Sydney, Australia. It's only going to be 10 people, very private, and that's where I channel, we do reading, sometimes angels come up, sometimes people from your past might come up, or your loved ones who have crossed over. But it's very intimate, and it's only 10 people. I think there's 5 spots left in Sydney, Australia on March 15th. So you can contact me on attractpositiveresults.com if you'd like to do that.
Awesome. Thank you
Okay.
so much, Max.
Yay, thank you, Erica. It was a pleasure to be here, and thank you for doing what you're doing and helping people to awake
Thank
and
you.
to come back to their true self.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time.
Sure.
Bye.
Bye.